Welcome back, my friends, to TFT Hyper Roll with Autarch, and I was originally torn where this video exactly belonged, but decided this was the right place. So we ended up with one of these horrific monstrosities that had Mythic and Invoker in it, which ultimately leads you with only one choice, and that's Mythic Invoker. First set of augments, a little torn between Shopping Spree and New Recruit, but ultimately we're going to take New Recruit because it's important with Mythic that you get a lead early or don't lose too much, because again, they have to power up before they're going to be effective. And I truly feel bad for people who get stuck with Sentinels like this, Reaper and Duelist. Luckily, they did get a Reaper emblem, so they could maybe work it out by getting a good Duelist to turn into a Reaper, but overall, that's just not something you want on a Sentinel. Your ideal Sentinel emblems are going to be things that affect team-wide. Like in this case, Arcanist and Sage can work really well because you can play into Sage. And you can likely figure out the top 4 by just looking through everyone's Sentinels because the good ones are going to make it. Item-wise, in a Mythic team, you're going to need a lot of tiers, so go ahead, grab a tier. You're going to want to make blue buffs for Lillia. You're going to want Static Shivs on Bard, so there's a lot of tiers that are needed. Any Sentinel with Dragon Lord on it is pretty much blessed because they can get to the 4 Dragon Lord early. If you get one with a combination Dragon Lord Sage, they win. GG. Unless they just don't get any rolls that go in their favor, they are very highly favored to win. It is time for the second set of augments, and nothing super exciting here at all. We definitely don't want to recombobulate. Pandora's items could work if you're not getting what you need, but as you can see, we've already got 2 tiers, so we're in pretty good shape there. Ultimately, Unified Resistance is going to be really nice because the front line for Mythic can get a little weak until you get Annie. This will tank them up just a little bit, especially with the Sentinel in front. Now, while I like the build, Umbral Reapers, that combination on a Sentinel, it may help you in mid-game, but I don't think it has much of a chance of winning unless you get really lucky with your rolls, because the Sentinel's not going to be doing enough damage to execute people, and it being a Reaper isn't going to help it either, and there are already 4 Reapers in the game. We were lucky enough to get an early Lillia, so we made the blue buff on her. We are against a team that has a Sage emblem, so this is one you want to look out for later. It's not going to be strong early, but it's going to be hard to take down in the end. Time for an item choice, and since there's no other item there that really works for what I want to do, Champion Duplicator it is. That gives us 2 Greater Champion Duplicators. And we found a Bard, so we can say goodbye to Malphite, who had been taking the frontline position. Now the Sunfire Cape goes on Tom Kench, and we have 7 Mythic, and so we now just need to get them all shiny. And we're down to our final set of augments, and we are presented with a really difficult choice. We're going to go to 6 Invokers, so Mana Shield, very, very tempting. But the ability to craft our own items is probably just a little bit stronger, so we go ahead, roll Mana Shield. Barring something amazing coming out, it's time for Pandora's items so we can craft exactly what we need. This person fully embraced the RNG by getting an additional Wandering Trainer on top of the Sentinel, so they have 6 different emblems, 2 of which happen to be Ink Shadow. So they are going to the 7 Ink Shadow and are going to have a really easy mid-game. This is also a spot in the game where the Sage teams are going to become very strong because they're going to have a lot of Omni-Vamp in the front line and then extra AP in the back line, which is going to just help them do a lot of damage, and their tanks hold up longer and longer. And you can see in this fight, this is why I say Sage is one of the stronger ones to get. And you can see that the teams with Dragon Lord and Sage are starting to take command. It is a very, very powerful combination, especially getting to that 4 Dragon Lord early and your team gets stunned. And those teams are likely going to be almost impossible to beat unless you get really lucky and you manage to find the gold 3-star 4 cost. And we now have a gold 3-star Lillia. And that is going to upset the balance of the force because the Sage teams and Dragon Lord teams are not going to stand a chance unless they get the gold 3-star 4 cost of their own. As you can see, we just tear through one. And because of Pandora's items, I stopped showing item choices, but I got 2 Rage Blades on Bard along with an Archangel Staff on Lillia. And you will see in a moment what kind of impact this combination of items has on a gold 3-star Lillia. Almost 30,000 total damage. And it is upon Lilia's back that we ride into the top 4. And as you will be able to see, there comes a point where nothing really matters simply because Lilia is going to wreck teams. Now, this is a ghost team, so it's a little easier to deal with, but still, her damage output is absolutely insane. And just like that, we are down to the winner-take-all 1v1, and it is the Dragon Lord team, which again, you're pretty much always going to see that in this type of scenario if someone gets Dragon Lord, but what they don't have is a gold 3-star 4-cost on their side, even though that 2-star Zaya in the corner with a heavenly emblem is really, really intimidating. Lillia is going to just wreck the entire team, and Dragon Lord, yep, they're going to be able to stun us, and that's going to have an impact, but really, at the end of the day, it's the gold 3-star 4-cost doing almost 30,000 damage. So yeah, your simple assignment, get gold 3-star 4-costs. Hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have an absolutely, absolutely awesome day.